Hi, I'm Mark Borse, and I wanted to take a moment and wish happy Martin Luther King Day to everyone, and also to thank folks for the generous outpouring of gifts, of gear, of gift cards, and of money to be used to purchase equipment to bring relief to our friends who are living outside in Montgomery County right now. I also wanted to take a couple of minutes to do three things: to share some ideas about what homeless is about in Montgomery County. Secondly, to show people what happens when they donate gear, where does it go and how is it used? And then thirdly, to encourage people to continue to be connected to access services and to the ministry to homeless folks around us. So a couple of big ideas. The first one is that homelessness is hidden. In a suburban county like Montgomery County, the way that you survive is by not being seen. If you are found, you'll be told to move on, to move around. And so the way you get by is by staying hidden. And there's a couple of ways that people do that. The first is to be hidden in plain sight. This is a Walmart parking lot a couple months ago. This car here that you see in the center, the Lincoln Town Car, is actually the home of a gentleman named Anthony. At the moment this picture was taken, he was inside the Walmart. He returned shortly after that and then got in his car and drove it to another parking spot where he spent the night. Anthony is 87 years old and his health is not good. This is the parking spot where he typically stays. It's actually very near the hospital, where he can go if he needs to get medical care. On this day, the person here next to the car is actually a doctor, is part of our street medicine team, and she is interviewing him and giving him some medical care. On this day, his health was so poor that the team helped him get across the street to the emergency room where his car was parked there. He was admitted to the hospital. He spent a week there. And if you were a passerby, a casual passerby, either to this parking lot or the one that I showed you from Walmart, you wouldn't know that inside the car is the life and a story of a homeless man. The second way that people stay hidden is nearby, but sort of out of sight. So this is a patch of woods outside town. And we had a community healthcare worker came to this site with us on our street med rounds. And she said, you know, I have lived in this town for my entire life, and I never knew that this was back here. These tents here are a little bit different because they're concentrated together. The reason that they're pushed together like this is because it was during the storm Ida, and the places where they were flooded. And so this is the only spot of high ground that remained dry through that storm. The problem with this is that when they're concentrated together like this, they become more visible. Shortly after this picture was taken, the folks who lived here were told that they weren't allowed to be here and that they needed to move, find some other place to be, or they would be cited for trespassing. The second big idea is that homelessness is hard. That might sound obvious, but it takes so much just to survive. All of your time, your focus, your energy is on where to get food, how to just take care of your daily needs, how to charge your phone, when everything that you need to do is by phone call. This is a tent also out in the woods nearby. And you can see the clothing is out here sort of to dry. How do you just, how to take care of just your basic needs is just something that it takes all of your time every day just to sort of figure that out, how to keep your stuff safe. The things that you need to do to move forward. It's hard to keep a job when you're homeless. It's hard to figure out things like getting your ID back if it was lost, or finding your social security card, or applying for a birth certificate. These things are really hard to do while you're also spending your day just trying to figure out how to meet your basic needs. This is a couple that had been outside for about 6 months when Ida hit them. This is the same site after the storm. Their tent is up in the trees and the bushes to the left of this picture. Everything that they owned was wrecked, including some things that were very personal, sentimental things that they had brought with them when they lost their housing and were holding on to for when they got back into another place. And so those things are not replaceable. It's very hard to hold hope when you're outside in these conditions. And so when we help people, when we give them tangible things, it's even though it seems like a small thing, oftentimes it's a glimpse of hope for somebody. This is a warming station that we put together last week with the impending weather being so cold. It's a code blue today. It's been code blue for the last couple of days. When somebody is positive with COVID, they can't go inside to some of the places that they're used to going to when it's cold during the day. And those spaces are limited from the places that people used to go before COVID. And so there's not very much relief for folks during the day on a cold, bad weather day. So we put this together. This was made entirely of donated goods, the tarps, the tent. Here's the inside of it. You see there's a heater here, so it's warm. It's not very luxurious. There was a joke about where was the 75-inch screen TV. It's not much, but it does keep you out of the elements and helps you warm up, and you can charge your phone in the background there while you're sitting there. So again, this was put together with donated items, and so we're very grateful that they were given to us so that we could do this. There isn't a large scale answer across the county for how to help people who are experiencing COVID and need to be isolating or quarantining from other people. So what we're doing is we're trying to invent some creative solutions on a local level with the ministries that serve people in the smaller communities. The third big idea is that homelessness is really about a person. We can think about homelessness in lots of different ways and lots of different scales, but when it comes down to it, it's a person who didn't set out to be outdoors, and something happened and it got them outside, and each person has a face and a story. It's hard to kind of see what this is, but these are guitars in a guitar case. There's a gentleman who was living out in the woods. We'll call him David. And David had been out for a while. He was in a band, and he used to talk to me about he's talked to me about his time in a band and sort of what he did with his life before circumstances got him outside. His tent was flooded out during Ida, and he found himself suddenly needing to leave his tent and grabbing the things that were most important to him that were close at hand, including his guitars. He thinks they're wrecked, too damaged to be restored, but they're important to him, and he doesn't really want to let them go. And this is them just before we put them in my truck, and I helped him relocate to another section of woods that was safer. This is David in a street medicine clinic. We were in a day room of a building where people go to get food, and we set up shop there. And David came in to see the doctor, and while he was waiting, he found this guitar that was sitting in the corner of the room. I think none of the rest of us had really noticed it, but he picked it up, and it was badly out of tune. So he spent some time tuning it up, and then he started playing, and it turns out he's really good. And for about a magical 25 or 30 minutes, that we were just serenaded by live music while we saw patients in the medical clinic. The last idea is that homelessness should impact us, and the fact that people have given so generously to hand out gear means that we are impacted by it. And so I want to show just what happens with your gear when you donate it, and then also encourage you to continue to be part of the conversation about how we continue this ministry. So here's gear that gets collected. This is one of our office spaces, and this is about half of the room. The other side of the room matches it, so we were full up that day. We also have a storage unit, so we keep some things there. When items come in, we keep track of who gave them, and also keep a list of the inventory, what has come in, so we know what we're giving out and where we're giving it. This is some of that room there, got loaded up into my truck and is going out on a particular Tuesday. This is just before the cold weather of the last storm. This is one of those sites. It's a dispersed site, meaning that there's individual tents spread out across a pretty good section of woods. About 10 or 12 people live in this general area. This site is the home for a couple. They're very nice people. They're very kind people. The husband is really handy, and so he has a whole gear kit where he can fix things, tools and duct tape and rope, and he keeps track of the sort of the gear needs of the space. The wife keeps track of people. She's sort of like the mother hen of that section of the woods, and so she knows who needs what. And on this particular day, again, it was right before the storm. I said, how many sleeping bags do you need? And she ticked off on her fingers who needed what, and she said, I need about 6 bags. They have the gear that they need. This gear is going to be handed out. She's going to hand it out to the people that she knows needs it, and so she's keeping track of it. The homeless community is really functions like a community, and these two folks are representative of good people who live outside and are still taking care of other people that are around them. I'm going to encourage you, as a good next step, if you've not done so, to join the Intersect community page on Facebook. It's run by Access Services. It's where we post real-time needs. And so if you join that, you'll be able to see needs as they come up. It's also, we're asking people to repost needs. So not only do we want to let people know the needs as they come up, but we're interested in spreading that news as far as possible, so as many people can be involved as possible. We're also going to be posting notifications about the conversation that we're continuing to have on a community level about what we can do to continue to help folks who are living outside. Martin Luther King talked a lot about love and the power of love and how we needed to love each other and love our community and love even our enemies. He also talked a lot about the importance of justice and how that was connected to our work. And the fact of the matter is that there isn't enough housing in Montgomery County or any county, but there's certainly not enough housing in Montgomery County. And we need to have a conversation about how to fix that. And that's really an issue of justice and how do we take care of folks? How do we provide for folks the opportunity to live in an affordable way in the community? And so I'm going to encourage you to continue. Thank you for your gifts, for your generosity, and encourage you to continue to be involved with Access in the ministry that we're providing. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of the day.